Hello and welcome to the masterclass. We are going to teach you how to lose your first 10 to 15 pounds and keep it off. Here's what we want to tell you right up front. If you are over 40 and you feel like you've done everything right and your body is still not responding, you are not broken. And this is not a discipline problem. By the end of this presentation, you're going to understand exactly why that's true and exactly what needs to change. I'm Shannon Hansen. I've spent the last several years working specifically with women in peri and postmenopause, not general fitness or 20 somethings, but specifically this stage of life. And I want to show you something today that took me years to fully understand myself. My journey started in perimenopause. I was in my mid 40s and I was working out and eating healthy like I always did. I hadn't changed anything. And suddenly the weight started creeping up, especially around my midsection. So naturally, probably like many of you, I thought I just needed to work harder. I tried CrossFit, running, beach body workouts, paleo, keto, vegan, intermittent fasting, you name it, I did it, and nothing worked. Until one day I got desperate and I hired a coach. And it was the best thing I ever did. I learned how to lift heavy. I learned how to build muscle and track macros, and my body immediately started responding. And that's the point when I knew I had to share this with other women. So I became a coach, started my online business, and now we've coached nearly 500 women over 40 to lose fat, build muscle, and get in the best shape of their lives. And that's exactly how I met my business partner, Leslie, who I'm going to introduce right now.
Hi, guys. I'm Leslie Sullivan. And after spending a decade of my life losing the same 20 to 30 pounds multiple times, I was so tired of feeling like I was working so hard in the gym. But when I looked in the mirror, I never saw the results that I wanted. 3 years ago, I decided to hire a coach and I joined Shannon's program. The rest is history. I learned how to actually build muscle and fuel my body. And not only did I lose 38 pounds in the process, I have more muscle on my body than I ever thought possible at 45 years old. I was so blown away with my results and the methods that got me there that it inspired me to become a personal trainer myself and partner with Shannon on a mission to teach women in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s that they are not broken and that they absolutely can transform their bodies the way that we have.
So, along the way, I started noticing the same pattern over and over. Women coming to me who had already lost weight before, who knew how to eat well, women who were disciplined, and they tell me some version of the same thing. I'm doing exactly what I used to do, and it's just not working anymore. And that phrase, that it's just not working anymore, is the entire reason why we built what we're about to show you today. Let's start with the number one reason that the things that used to work for you are no longer working. It's not because you're older, it's not because your metabolism is broken, it's because you've lost muscle. That's the key. After age 30, and especially through menopause, your body naturally loses muscle every single year if you don't actually work to keep it. And we're going to talk in a little bit about exactly how to keep it. Most women lose 3 to 5% of their muscle mass per decade after age 30, and it accelerates through menopause and that transition. Comment, shit.
It's fine, we're going to cut it out.
Okay, gonna cut it out. Let me start over. Okay. Most women lose 3 to 5% of their muscle mass per decade after age 30, and that accelerates through the menopause transition. It's not in your head. There's a physiological reason for this. Muscle isn't just about looking toned. Muscle is your metabolism. It's the tissue that burns calories even when you're resting or sleeping or sitting at your desk. Less muscle literally means your body burns fewer calories now, which is why the same eating and exercise habits that worked in your 20s and 30s stopped working in your 40s and 50s. The more muscle you have, the more fat you burn, and the more flexible you can be with your nutrition. I don't want to say all this. I'm going to skip that. Or should I say it?
Go ahead, skip it.
Okay. So here's the trap. When the scale stops moving, what do almost ev so here's the trap. When the scale stops moving, what does almost every woman do? I know this is what I did in perimenopause. We try eating even less and adding more cardio. And here's why that doesn't work as a 40, 50, or 60-year-old woman. Your hormone fluctuations are already putting a stress on your body. You've got less energy, you're not sleeping well, and you just overall don't feel great. Am I right? That's your body telling you that it's not happy, it's not getting what it needs to function properly. So when we restrict food, which by the way, food is fuel for your body. So we restrict the fuel our body needs to function. And then on top of that, we start adding more cardio, which is what? It's intense, it burns calories, and it's demanding a big tax on our already stressed, depleted, and underfueled body. And remember, our bodies are really smart. They're going to adapt at whatever we throw at them. So, you know what our body does? When it doesn't have enough fuel for energy, it will pull from muscle. So the real problem is declining muscle, and we're making the problem even worse because now we're burning less calories at rest and wondering why we can't lose fat and why we're always tired. The harder you try using these old strategies from your 20s is what? The harder you try using the old strategy from your 20s, which is okay, sorry. The harder you try using the old strategies from your 20s, which is eat less and move more, the further behind you actually fall. And that's why more willpower isn't the answer. Can you see that now? Trying harder at the wrong things still won't get you to your goals. Your strategy must change because your body has changed. Your old strategy was burn calories, lose weight, get skinnier, get a lower number on the scale. But because you've lost muscle, your new strategy needs to be build muscle, fuel properly, lose fat, get stronger, and get more compact so your clothes fit better.
All right, let's talk about GLP-1 meds for a minute. Whether you're on one, you've considered one, or someone you know is taking one, let's talk about it. Millions of women are taking them right now because they're created to make it easier to eat less. And for many women, that results in weight loss. But weight loss is not the same thing as building a healthy body. GLP-1s reduce your appetite, but they don't help you build muscle. In fact, if you're eating significantly less, you're not prioritizing protein and not strength training, there's a significant chance that there's a greater chance that you'll lose a significant amount of muscle on a GLP-1. And after 40, muscle is the last thing we want women to lose. Because remember, muscle is our metabolism. Muscle is what helps you stay strong. It's what gives your body shape. It's what helps you keep the weight off long term. It's what protects your bones. It prevents falls. It's what helps you get off the floor without needing someone to help you. It's what is going to help you carry your own groceries or play on the floor with your grandkids. Our client Tamis is 66, and she recently sent us a picture of her giving her grandson a piggyback ride. And our 65-year-old client Rebecca sent us a video of her doing pull-ups on the playground with her grandchildren. This is what we're fighting for. The scale doesn't determine whether you'll be independent at 75. Your muscle does. So when we see women celebrating rapid weight loss without anyone talking to them about protecting their muscle, it breaks our hearts because we're not just thinking about the next 6 months, we're thinking about the next 30 years. Weight loss matters, but what matters even more is what kind of body you're left when the weight is gone. But what matters even more is what kind of body you're left with when the weight is gone. Yet we're watching thousands of women celebrate the number on the scale while unknowingly sacrificing the very thing that's going to matter most over the next 20 or 30 years. That's why we believe the goal shouldn't be, how can I lose weight the fastest? It should be, how can I lose fat while building the strongest body possible? Because when the medication is gone, your muscle is what you're left with. Your metabolism is what you're left with. Your habits are what you're left with. And if those things weren't built during the process, the medication didn't actually solve the underlying problem. And that's why our focus has never been just getting women to weigh less. Our focus is helping women build bodies that are stronger, healthier, and capable for more decades to come. This is really the moment where everything starts to click. Because once you understand that muscle is the missing piece, you stop blaming yourself. You stop believing your body is broken. You stop chasing every new diet that promises to be the one. You realize you've been trying to solve the wrong problem all along. For years, we've been told the answer is simple: eat less, move more, burn more calories. If the scale stalls, eat even less, do even more. And maybe that works for a little while, but eventually you hit a wall. You're eating less than ever, you're exhausted, you're not getting stronger, and your body still doesn't look the way you hoped it would. Not because you failed, but because that strategy just isn't sustainable. And that's why we call muscle the lever, because muscle changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I eat less? You start asking, how can I build a body that's stronger, healthier, and burns more energy? Muscle gives your body shape. It's what creates toned arms, lifted glutes, and defined legs. It's why two women can weigh the exact same amount but look completely different. It improves your strength, your balance, and mobility. And maybe most importantly, it gives you the freedom to keep doing the things you love, like hiking with your family. That's why so many programs fail. They're focused on only making women weigh less. We're focused on helping women build stronger bodies that they love. Because when focus on because when you focus on muscle first, fat loss becomes easier to maintain. Your body changes shape, you become stronger, you become healthier, and you stop feeling like you're fighting your body every single day. So, if muscle is the missing piece, how do we actually build it? That's exactly why we created the Muscle First Fat Loss Method.
The Muscle First Fat Loss Method is built on 3 pillars, and we're going to walk you through what each one does and why it matters. Pillar number 1 is progressive muscle first training. Not random workouts, not just exercising to burn calories, but using a structured training plan that tracks your weights and reps and your strength over time and intentionally gives your body a reason to adapt. Because here's the thing women were never taught. Your body doesn't build muscle just because you worked out. It builds muscle because you incrementally and gradually ask it to do something a little more challenging than it did before. That's the signal that tells your muscle to grow back stronger. The problem isn't that most women, the problem is that most women never actually give their bodies that signal. They go to the gym, they take the classes, grab some dumbbells, do the same machines, and repeat the same workout they found online. They're consistent, working hard, checking the boxes, but nothing is actually progressing. And so it's just leaving them exhausted and frustrated. That's when women assume that their body has stopped responding because they're over 40, or because they're in peri or postmenopause, or because some influencer on the internet told them that their metabolism is broken. When really your body has just adapted to exactly what you've been asking it to do. Think about it this way. If you've been curling 10-pound dumbbells for the last 2 years, your body doesn't have a reason to build stronger biceps. It already knows it can handle that demand. But our bodies are incredibly efficient. They don't build muscle because you want toned arms or a higher metabolism. Your body builds muscle because it has to meet a new challenge. Now, when people hear progressive overload, they often picture making huge jumps in weight every week. That's not what we're talking about. In fact, some of the biggest transformations happen because of the smallest improvements. Adding 1 rep before increasing the weight. Maybe you move from a 15-pound dumbbell to a 17.5 dumbbell. Maybe you improve your form or you control the lowering phase a little bit better. Those small wins are going to add up over time. This is one of the biggest reasons our clients see, ooh, that distracted me. This is one of the biggest reasons our clients see results when they've struggled for years. They're no longer guessing, they are training instead of just working out. And every training session has a purpose. They know what they did last week, they know what they're trying to improve this week, and they have objective proof that they're getting stronger, which is what you see here. One of our clients, their progress on their dumbbell front squat. You can see she's getting stronger over time. And I can't even begin to tell you how empowering that is. And here's why that matters beyond just building muscle. As you build muscle, you're creating a body that burns more energy, supports healthier bones, improves balance and stability, makes everyday tasks easier, and helps you preserve your strength as you age. You're not just working out to look different, you're investing in how your body will function for decades into the future. Pillar number 2 is nutrition built for muscle, not just a deficit. Should I say write this down?
You might want to write this down.
Okay. You might want to write this down. The only way to lose weight is in a calorie deficit. The only way to lose weight is in a calorie deficit. So a calorie deficit just means you're eating less than your body burns. But we already said that you can't just eat less to lose weight. So how do we make it work? We need to fuel properly by getting enough protein, micronutrients, and fiber, and by eating enough total calories to support muscle growth while being in a modest deficit. That means eating enough food to hold on to muscle, but still low enough to lose fat. This is the piece that almost every diet program got backwards. Extreme restriction leads to slower metabolism, binging, and you being miserable. Remember, food is fuel, and not eating enough will leave you tired and exhausted. Fueling with the right nutrition will give you energy, you'll be able to build and maintain muscle, you'll sleep better, and you'll even think more clearly. And pillar number 3 is accountability. This is truly the missing piece. So here's the thing. Information is not the problem. In fact, I would argue that gathering more information just makes you paralyzed. You're not sure which program to do or which plan to follow or who to listen to. So what happens? You end up doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You move your body, maybe you get some steps, maybe a workout here and there, and you try eating pretty healthy. How's that working out for you? I'm guessing not good, or you wouldn't be here. I could hand you my exact workout program and my exact nutrition plan, the one that I'm doing right now, that's getting me amazing results. And you know what? It wouldn't change your body. Do you know why? It's not because of the plan. The plan works. It's because you haven't learned the skills. You haven't learned how to implement the plan into your life and how to know when to make adjustments. What do you do if progress stalls? How do you adapt when you go on vacation? How do you know if you're lifting heavy enough? How do you know if you're lifting too heavy? How do you know if this is actually working? Most women already know that protein matters and you know that muscle is important. But what's been missing is having an expert who looks at your data, who observes your body's feedback, your progress, your life every single week in real time and tells you what needs to change and why. What should you do right now to move the needle most? What should you not waste your time on? Where do you need to make improvements and what are you doing well? Because what we know is this, you're not going to go all in putting your valuable time and energy into a plan if you're not certain that it's working, right? That's why you think you're not motivated. You're not sure if what you're doing is the right thing. So you only put in half effort and you stay stuck. That's why most women out there are not making progress. They're constantly asking themselves, is this even working? I don't see progress. Should I even bother trying? But when you're confident in the plan, when you're getting expert guidance from someone who knows what actually works, who is analyzing all of your data and explaining why she recommends each change, you will fully commit and you'll go all in. You need to know the why behind the what.
All right, I want to tell you about 3 of our clients, and I want you to see if you have anything in common with them. First, I want you to meet Daria. She's 57 and she's a busy ER doctor. She's got a crazy schedule, switching between long night and day shifts. Before she came to us, she bounced between every diet you can name. Weight Watchers, intermittent fasting, keto, Atkins, Mediterranean diet, the juice fast, even diet pills. She had started a GLP-1 and lost about 10 pounds, but she had no energy, like none. She told us that she'd save up everything she needed to do upstairs in her own house, just so she'd only have to make the trip once because climbing the stairs left her that depleted. She stayed on the GLP-1 for about a month after we started working together, but then came off because she didn't have the energy for her workouts and couldn't eat enough protein to support them. She decided to trust the process. Now she's down 30 pounds since starting our program, and she's in a normal BMI range for the first time in years. She went from using 5-pound weights to 20-pound weights with her bicep curls, and she can run up and down her stairs without getting winded. She said she doesn't want to end up like the patients she sees every day who can't get out of a chair without help. She wants to be strong enough to live and enjoy her life. This is the muscle loss trap that we described a minute ago. Just eating less is making things worse, and that's exactly why the muscle first approach exists. This is our client Tamis. She is 66 and a retired physician's assistant. In 2022, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the medication she was put on caused significant weight gain as a side effect. She tried Optavia, Weight Watchers, walking, cutting calories. Nothing worked, and her doctors basically told her that's just how it is now. She'd gotten to the point of buying bigger clothes and giving up. Tamis and her husband are both foodies, love to travel and eat out, and she told us when she joined our program that she wasn't willing to change that part of her life. So the plan had to fit her real life, not the other way around. We created a strength training program for Tamis where she trains 3 days a week. She learned how to eat out at restaurants and make choices that support her goals. Today, 7 months into our Muscle First fat loss program, Tamis is down 47 pounds. She has visible muscle definition in her arms. She's giving her grandson that piggyback ride, and she still eats out 2 to 3 nights a week and travels 2 to 3 times a month. During her 7 months with us, she has taken 2 cruises, one that was 2 weeks long. Her trips didn't pause her progress. In fact, she didn't track her food on vacation at all. She came back home and got right back on track. In her words, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. And even though she's lost 47 pounds, she also says, it's not about the scale, it's about how I feel. And she feels amazing. Tamis has also told us that people assume she's on a GLP-1 because of what she's accomplished in the last 7 months. But she loves to tell them she's not. She's made a deliberate choice to build this through muscle instead. And that smile says it all. All right, and then last we have our client Heather here, who's 53. She's a former teacher who retired early to help run her family's farm and ranch. Her days are very unpredictable. One day she's doing book work, the next she's feeding cows or running machinery. Before working with us, she tried all the things: running, CrossFit, Beachbody, meal delivery plans. Everything she did felt extreme, and none of it was sustainable with a schedule that changes on her every single day. We helped Heather build a simple protein prep. We helped Heather build a simple protein prep routine at the start of each week to work around her unpredictable schedule. And she learned how to plan ahead for days she was stuck on a tractor and couldn't get home for lunch. We also created her a strength training program that she does at home 4 days a week before starting her busy days. Heather has lost 26 pounds and completely changed the shape of her body. She is stronger than ever. The moment she talks about most is looking down at her own legs at a track meet and realizing for the first time in her life, she could see definition in her legs. And this wasn't because she had more willpower or followed a more extreme diet. It was because she focused on building muscle first. Heather feels confident and trusts herself around food for the first time in her life. In her words, if I miss a day of something, I don't fall off the rail and blow it for the rest of the day. Heather will also tell you that for years she put everyone else before her. She said that she felt selfish doing anything for herself. But at 53 years old, Heather is doing this for her.
So inspiring, right? So here's what all three of these women had in common. None of them needed more willpower. They all needed the muscle first fat loss method. It's a structured training plan and nutrition for muscle instead of just restriction, and a coach who explains the why behind every adjustment along the way. So that's exactly what we want to open up. No, no, no. To just cut that part out. Should be fine. Here's what's included when you join the Muscle First Fat Loss Program. You'll get a fully customized training plan using Progressive Overload, built around the equipment you have available and around your life schedule, any physical limitations that you might have, and your specific physique goals. Custom nutrition targets that are calibrated for muscle building, not just a generic, custom nutrition targets that are calibrated for muscle building, not just a generic deficit. And that's including specific guidance if you're on or coming off a GLP-1, or if you have any dietary restrictions or needs. You'll get 24/7 access to your coaches, bi-weekly video check-ins, twice a week live group community and education calls where we'll go over everything from fiber to fat loss, travel, mindset, and everything in between. And you'll get access to our exclusive app where we'll track all of your progress, data, and habits. Now, we know what some of you might be thinking, so let's address it. You might be thinking, I've tried programs before and they didn't work. And we hear this constantly. And it's exactly why the Muscle First Fat Loss Method exists. All of the programs you've done have failed you because they weren't built around muscle. They weren't adjusted to your real-time data, or you were paying for a cookie cutter plan instead of a custom plan with a hands-on coach who's invested in you and who actually watches your progress and makes adjustments that fit your actual life. Maybe you're thinking, I don't have time. This isn't about adding more hours to your week. It's about doing the right things instead of more things. Most of our clients train 3 to 4 times a week, never 6. You won't be spending hours at a time on your workouts. We custom create them for you for your schedule. Maybe you're wondering, what if it doesn't work for me specifically? It will. This works. If you follow the program, you take our suggestions, you're coachable, and you don't lose at least 10 to 15 pounds in your first 6 months, we will coach you for free until you do. That's how certain we are that the Muscle First Fat Loss Method works. You can stop guessing and start getting results. So if that sounds like what you want, DM back with the word results.